to be doing everything here as well. Yay. So while we gather, I just want everyone to start to tune into their breath. I made a little sign for you guys. Breathe. How you breathe is how you live. So we're going to just take some deep breaths while we have some people gathering. I teach a connected breath. It's in and out through the mouth. So we're going to just experience what it's like to expand from the inside out. So I'm going to invite everyone to just find a comfortable position while we take a few deep breaths. Now, this is the connected breath, which is done in and out through the mouth. And the reason for this is that we're going to literally expand from the inside out, because I think you're all here because you want to make more money. And to make more money, we need to make some room. So we're going to stretch a little bit, and we're going to allow this breath to literally symbolize making room to make more. So the breath could look and sound a little like this. So on your own, just try it. Let me know how it's going. Just take a deep breath in. It can be challenging at first to breathe this way, but it's really amazing how it symbolizes this inner expansion for allowing more to come in. So if you missed my little paper, how you breathe is how you live. So if you want to breathe, if you want to be in expansion, then you have to breathe into expansion. And this particular breath is about oxygenating your body. And the oxygen goes into your cells and your tissue. And we're going to be talking about how to reprogram your mind. And a part of the programming is actually living inside of your cells and in your tissue. From when you were really small, you picked up things, you heard things, you saw things, and it's lodged itself inside of your system. And this type of breath is amazing for releasing any old stories that are just pent up in there, along with tension, for us to then recreate a new story. So we're just going to take take 2 more deep breaths in. Just allow yourself to fully expand. Like, this is your commitment right now to making more. Ready? Yes, feel the expansion. Here's the second breath. All right. Everything that you need is within you, starting with your breath. So, my name is Lisa Mehta, and I am a next level coach and a breath practitioner. That's why we were doing some breathing. And what I do is I help people evolve and change and transition from wherever they are in their life to their next level in business, in mindset, in health, and in their lifestyle. So the work that I do, it merges science and spirituality. I'm like a big nerd and like a big woo-woo person. And that's why this talk is called The Science of Change and Monetize Your Morning. So we're going to be learning. The science part is, how does your brain work? How are we just programmed? And if we're not liking the results in our life, how do we reprogram it? And the Monetize Your Mornings is, how do you create a morning routine for success? Yawning, I see that note about, am I the only person who yawns when doing breath work? No, yawning's great. It means that you're taking in a lot of oxygen and your brain is loving it. And the more work you do with breath work, the less you're going to yawn. So keep doing it and keep on yawning. All right, so that's a little bit about what I do. I help people evolve. I help people change, and the merging of the science and the merging of the spirituality. That's been my perfect little storm of how to manifest what I like and what I want in my life. I am not, I am very cerebral and I like to understand how things are working, but I'm also a believer and I see the miracles and how things work in life. So today we're going to be talking about how to reprogram and then how to bring this into a very practical space. So I'm guessing everyone who is on this call and anyone who's watching the replay, including myself, because like I said, there's always next levels. Everyone wants to make more money for the most part. I mean, even those millionaires want to make more money probably. So click a heart or a like if you want to make more money, because let me tell you, it starts with charging it up. It's all about charging up the energy around what you want in your life. So if you want to make more money, click, 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 because I know I do. And this is the thing. We all have a relationship with change. And the first thing we need to do is actually define change. Because that's where I always start. If I want something, I have to define it and just make sure that I'm on the same page with myself. And also, just I want to make sure that all of us on this call right now are on the same page on this live with what change is. Okay? Change, for how I'm going to define it here, is, oh, I love all the hearts popping up. Yay, make more money, make more money. Change is, I'm going to define it for us today as transitions, as decisions, emotions, and action. And the reason is, change is about something in one state going to another state. So transitions is literally, you know, the transition of something. Decisions is like you're deciding to leave something or to make a decision from what one thing is to another thing. Your emotions, my gosh, in any given day, we are just cycling through so many emotions, and how we move through them, literally emotion, is just so, that's probably one of the most challenging places where I think like we all need to face our ability to empower ourselves to change, because sometimes the emotions can feel like they are real and we can't get out of them. And the last thing is action, because action literally moves us from one state to another state. So all four of those are how I'm going to be defining change, which means if those are the things that define change and we have a relationship with change, then we have to look at, well, what is our relationship with transitioning and with decisions? Are you a conscious decision maker? Do you even know what that means? What's your relationship with your emotions? And of course, actions. How quickly can you take action? So in life, you are either designing your life or you're creating it by default. So you're either in design or default. This is how we are living. And our default, we're going to talk about both of these. And at first, I want to go through default, because we must understand our default programming before we can decide if we want to upgrade it and align it to the new thing that we want. So our default programming are things that we heard and saw growing up, and we're going to dive into this. So this is going to be an actual like training worksheet, workshopping type of thing. So if you guys want to go and get go to monetizeyourmornings.com and download the workbooks, you can kind of follow along with me there, or you can get it later or not at all. So on that default tip, okay, you have a result that you want, and maybe you're trying many things and you're just, the same result keeps coming up. This could actually show up like you're capped at making a certain amount of money, or you just aren't having, like, you think you're keep on trying to have the thing that you want, but it doesn't show up. So what could be happening is that you're running an old program. It's kind of like our phones. You know, at the time you got it and it was super fast and it was running very efficiently. And then 2 years later, it was slowing down and needed an update. And so basically, your money program might need an update. But to do that, we have to look at the program and then take it into a new upgraded program. So if you're living in default, or actually design, either one, this is the path. You have a program, that's your mind, that's how it's thinking, those are the thoughts it's repeating and over again, and also are linked to your beliefs. Your programs, then they inform your thoughts, then those then dictate your behaviors, and then you get a result. Okay? Program, thoughts, behavior, action, result. You don't like your results, you need to look at your program. And the best way to look at your program is actually through the lens of your thoughts. So we're going to get to that in a minute. I just want to share a little bit about why am I even talking about this today. So I had like this pathway of leaving a corporate job, and I found myself all the way across the world following my heart, and I was in a relationship. And when I came back, I did not want to go back into a corporate job. And so I was like, I'm going to start my own business and do this. Well, I had a mortgage and I was living the corporate life, but without the corporate salary. And before I knew it, I was just black hole deep in debt. I was waking up with complete panic. Like, I don't even know if I was sleeping. Like, I just couldn't even think. I had to have friends buy me food sometimes. I mean, the shame of where I was, knowing how smart and talented I am, it was really devastating. And my quality of life sucked. And I'm in New York City with like so many amazing opportunities out there. And I was just stuck inside my little four walls, just panicking about how I was going to make this money and get this business up and running and get the heck out of this debt. And I was introduced to Bob Proctor's 11 Forgotten Laws. And the first law is the law of thinking. And this law is also in, if you know anything about the 7 Hermetic laws, it's called the law of mentalism. But it's basically learning how to master your mind. And when I heard that, just that little nugget, master your mind, I was like, wait a minute, I'm just like obsessing here of being in debt. And I don't know if, I mean, most of the people maybe on this high vibrational summit know the whole, law of attraction, but debt creates more debt, worry creates more worry, wanting creates more wanting. So I was just like stuck in my little vortex of blah. And I began to wake up. I woke up to the idea that I could change this reality and I could begin to rewire my brain for success. I don't know if any of you guys have heard this. I love this where it says, where you fire, you wire. So this is the science part. I got really interested in how the brain works. Like, why do I have the thoughts I have and why do they repeat themselves? And basically, there's a current. Every time you have a thought, it's a current that is strengthening, kind of like a muscle at the gym. You work that muscle at the gym, it's going to get bigger. So you work that thought in your brain and the current gets stronger. So where you're firing off is where you're wiring. And you become super wired with that one thought. It could be, I'm not making any money. I'll never make money. I'll never make money. I'll never make money. And then it gets stronger and stronger. So I got super fascinated with neuro-sculpting, which is basically how you can change the program. So what we're going to do here, and again, I'm just going to mention this one more time in case, because we're about to get into the workbook part of things right now. So if you do want to follow along, it's the What's Your Money Story workbook, and you can download it at monetizeyourmornings.com. All right. I would love to have everyone participate if you are watching and you want to share with me along the way, and I can offer some feedback on how to begin this like reprogramming piece. And of course, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments and I will try to. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for having me. This is awesome. I'm dorking out right now and I'm loving it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to begin by looking at our default programming. And if you are on the workbook, page 2 is what we've just talked about with programming, thoughts, behaviors, actions equals results. So our brains are programmed in 2 very distinct primary sensory ways. It is what you heard and what you saw growing up by your primary caretakers, your parents, because it's actually, again, that consistency of what you saw and what you heard is what was shaping your brain. So we're going to start with, if anyone, I would like you all to start thinking about and share if you want, what is one thing, or it could be more than one thing, that you heard over and over again about money growing up? What did you hear? Okay? Literally, what did you hear around you? Okay? So I also, it's very important that I make this distinction. This is not about judging this, whatever you heard or saw, as good or bad, because something that seemingly is negative or bad could have translated actually into something good, or vice versa. So right now we're just connecting dots. We're not like judging the thing, especially our parents. We, you know, everyone is doing the best that they could. This is just getting real about what did you hear. So things could be, yes, love it. We can't afford it. Perfect. Fighting about how to spend money. Yes, you heard people around you fighting. Thank you, Dawn. You could have heard something like money doesn't grow on trees, or another thing is you could have heard nothing. Sometimes people were like quiet about money, not saying anything, hiding it, and it was like never talked about. And who knows how that got translated then. Can't afford it, can't make any more money. Yep. I'm gonna share something about this can't afford thing, because it's like probably one of the most common things that we hear. And one of my biggest reframes, besides the B word, which from this point on, the fact that you guys are listening to me, I feel it is my duty to impart that none of you are ever allowed to use the B word ever again. And the B word is broke. You cannot, is like the worst vibration for making money in your life. Broke out. And like, I just said it way too many times than I even like saying it. So I can't afford. Quick reframe on that. If you find yourself still to this day saying, I can't afford it, I would love to offer you to reframe that to, I choose not to invest in this right now. Totally different energies. Oh my God, I can't afford it. You're a victim to the money, but I choose not to invest in this right now is like, you know what? I have a choice. Even if that's going to make me go into debt, I choose not to do that. And that is what being a conscious creator is all about, is putting you in the power, into the choice, into deciding. And that's why we're going to reprogram. Okay. Yep. We did a lot of judging. You heard, so yeah, like some other common ones are like rich people are greedy, or let me see, I have this on save for a rainy day. You got to save for a rainy day. We can't afford it. Or another funny one is, oh, you can just have whatever you want. Yeah, sure, pick whatever you want. And that gets translated in our money story when we grow up as an adult and we have these expectations that we can literally have whatever we want. And sometimes our work ethic is affected by that because we don't know how to actually earn the money because we expect it. Again, no judging. It's just everyone is going to have their own dots that they need to connect. Post-dating checks to buy groceries. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, Sherry, thank you for sharing that. And maybe you saw, or you heard, sorry, we're doing the here right now, which actually we're going to move on down. You guys, those are so awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. So that I encourage you to keep digging, maybe there's more that you can think of. We're going to move to the second way that we are programmed in our sensory. And this is, what did you see regarding money? Okay, so now start to bring yourself back to all the things that you saw. Like, was somebody hiding money? Or were one of your parents picking up coins on the street that coming from a lack mentality possibly? Maybe your parents were giving to charity, which is, again, we're not doing a judging thing. We're just going back to, what did we see? Did somebody get presents all the time? Were you getting allowances? Were you rewarded with money? So if you want to share some of those with me on what did you see regarding money growing up, let's start to put these two things together in a minute. I definitely saw my mom picking up pennies. She had jars of pennies. She was like collecting them and quarters, and it became this almost like a save for the rainy day type of attitude. I also saw her making decisions based on how much something costs. Utilities out, no lights or heat, and not understanding why. Wow, okay, that's a great one. Thank you. Yes. So there was no communication there. When I'm super nice, I get presents. Excellent. Okay. So you guys are really seeing some powerful things here. And I love it because it first is about awareness. What happens is we take these on so subconsciously, and they're not even ours. So the next part of this workbook is about how does what you experienced play a role in how you relate to money today? So can you connect some of the dots? Like Dawn, you're saying right now, it wasn't so helpful. And today, in your adult self, how are you experiencing, are you doing or hearing or repeating any of those same things in your current life right now? Because before we can create the new programming, we really need to see if we're basically repeating something that was just getting passed down that is just so outdated. It's got to go, yo. Because without a doubt, there is a subtle vibration and a way that you are talking to yourself that is linked to those stories. And we need to cut the cord. We need to break free. We need to breathe into a new awareness. We need to upgrade the system, whatever analogy we want to drop right now. They're not yours. It's not yours. And you learned it, but you don't have to keep repeating it. You got allowance, Sherry, but I had to work for it, which was good, I think. Yeah, maybe. And who knows, maybe this translates into how money and work are related. There could be a relationship there. And so that's what the next part is about looking at all of that And we're on the bottom of page 3 if anyone's on the workbook, because right now we begin the process of being the creator of your life. So when all of that had to do with the default setting. And just even by becoming aware of it and opening up a little conversation, you start to loosen the grip of it and come to this moment where you get to say, how do I want my relationship with money to be? What would I rather be saying to myself? What would I rather be seeing around me? And that is you beginning a process of creating what you want for yourself. It's just the beginning, and we're going to go through how to strengthen that muscle. So as we were talking about, the program leads to the thoughts. So it's really important to start thinking about what are the thoughts that you want to have. And in the bundle from the monetizeyourmornings.com, when you download that, there's going to be some other goodies in there there's a meditation to help you reframe your mind, your brain, and there's going to be a morning routine to set you up for success. So we're going to move into the creation part. So creating can feel hard. And I always like to say that it's not hard, it's just going to take effort. And apparently I'm like all about analogies today. Actually, I'm all about analogies every day. And I want to share with you something that for me made a lot of sense when I started to think about how the brain worked, again, on the science tip. So imagine that program, whatever your current program is. Imagine like a needle on a record. And it's that program you have flexed and been firing off for a really long time, whether you like it or not, and whether it's working for you or not, you've been flexing it, you've been working it. And that groove in that record is super, super, super deep. Okay, so here we go. You're living your life, you're in that groove, and you come to a moment of awareness, which is basically everyone who's on this live or watching it, and many others, where you're like, I want more, but I don't know how to get there. And even when I try, it doesn't translate. So you want programming to results, but your actions and thoughts and behaviors aren't linking. So you're basically saying that you want to move the needle from that thought, old pattern, to a new place on the record where there is no groove. There's no groove there. So what's going to happen is you're going to begin this process today. I love money. Money comes easily and frequently into my life. Yay. And these are all beautiful, positive things. And I love them. And I support you to say these things. So you're going to move it over into that one baby thought. And it might go around once. And what's going to happen is it's going to go zoop, pop, right back into the deep groove. Of course. But this is the thing that happens. In that moment, we say to ourselves a lot of negative things. I mean, I know I did. I suck. It's not working. What's wrong with me? This affirmation shit doesn't work. Whatever you say to negate that actually the work is not just moving the needle from the needle off the one groove once. It's becoming aware. You got to move it every time. Every time. It's going to fall back in. Zoop, every time. This is the work. This is the work. Every time. It's effort because we got to catch ourselves going back to the default. But eventually, the little baby groove becomes a deeper groove. And just like with a muscle, if you don't flex that muscle, if you're not firing it off, it's going to atrophy. So what's going to happen is literally this is the change, the transition that we're talking about wanting to make, where you've literally changed the thought pattern, you've changed the way your brain is wiring and firing off the current. And that's when something sticks. I think this shows up for people, at least it shows up for me a lot, like trying to get to the gym, the wanting to get to the gym and then the actually showing up at the gym are two totally different things. And I had to really work on wiring my brain and getting it to get on board with attaching to the outcome and how good it's going to feel, and that I do work out, I am healthy and all of that. So let's not get into another analogy. All right, so what do we do next? That's basically how it works for making the change in the thought. From here, I created just 3 little simple words. They're not going to be like mind-blowing words that you guys have never heard before. It's just a matter of putting them together and then using consistency and commitment to bring into your life what you want. So it's realize, visualize, actualize. And if we go back to the worksheet, this is the top of page 4. It's basically, these are the 3 steps that got me out of debt, got me living the life that I wanted. And I will share, actually, I'm going to share with you guys some of the things that I realized that I wanted back when I was digging myself out of debt. The first thing I want to say is that I think I've covered multiple times that your thoughts create things. So what I haven't quite said is this exact sentence of everything is created twice. First as a thought, and then it materializes into the world as a thing. So this Sharpie, someone thought about this first. It was like imagination and ideas and creating. Then it came into fruition through a bunch of steps. And those steps included probably visualizing something and then making actual steps to create it and to be into an actual material thing. So the other thing is where your energy goes, your life flows. So it's super important that from that energetic perspective, you think of your thoughts as energy. They are vibrating. They actually carry a vibration. And Rob Proctor refers to them as the thought substance, like it's an actual thing. And some of our thoughts are more like contracted and have like a more constricted energy to it. Shame is down there on the lower ones, and sadness, but I'm not saying that these are bad. I'm just sharing that some are more contracted, and gratitude and joy are up there up at the top as really expanded energies. We're going to work with that in a minute with the morning routine. So as I've mentioned, your life is created by design or default. So here's how we get into the design part. You gotta realize what you want. And you don't believe me? How about a little Oprah, okay? Oprah said, what would make you happy? If you can define it, you're one step closer. Right here. Wait. The mirror image thing is so complicated for me. Okay, so you gotta define it. And I mean, if Oprah said it, it must be true, right? Okay, so define what you want. So this, it could be, obviously we're talking about money today, so it could literally be like a financial goal. Like I want to make $15,000 or more a month doing what I love. Could be that. And it could be other things that I'm going to share with you, some things that I manifested as part of mine. So I realized that I wanted an assistant because I wanted support. And obviously that's connected to the $15,000 or whatever my financial goal was at the time, because to have an assistant, you have to pay for her. But I was bringing this abundance of what I realized I wanted in the form of something other than a number. The other thing that I remember wanting and realizing that I wanted was I wanted to have a massage once a month. It's like these are like these little markers that were helping me see that I was actually creating, and they felt fun and more attainable than just like constantly focusing on the $15,000-$20,000 a month or whatever it was. I realized I wanted to be able to work from anywhere, and I also wanted to have an attitude of being able to go anywhere, specifically a restaurant, and be able to order whatever I wanted and not always like look at the price. So I would love to hear if anyone is super clear about something that they realize that they want, because let's start charging up what you want because of where your energy goes, your life flows. And this is a moment for you to declare it. Let's get the creation stuff started. What do you want? Go. I should put the music on right now. Do, do, do. A good analogy is like a good glass of wine. Yes, I love wine too. I have an analogy friend. We like collecting analogies together. So what is something you guys want? Let's hear it. Maybe share your financial goals if that feels comfortable, or share something that if you had your financial goal that you would do or buy or have or get. Like I said about doing the massages, which by the way, I went from one massage a month to every week now. And it feels so great. I want to build a tiny house and travel. Nice, Shannon. That's so cool. Tiny houses are cool. I like mini things. All right, great. So let's keep that in mind for you realizing what you want. So write that one down. And also, I want to say, when you start to go here into this creation, start paying attention to like any tiny little thoughts that are popping up in the back of your mind that start to like, who do you think you are? Or that's silly, you know, or any of the thoughts that could be linked to the old program that's going to try to take you away from thinking you can't have this. I'm just throwing it out there to pay attention to it. Okay, and another thing I want us to do is everyone to just take a deep breath. When we start to get deeper into here, our bodies start to contract, and rolling your shoulders out, and don't forgetting to stay connected to your body. Sherry, make 6 figures via my online products. Yay! You could totally have that. Nice job realizing what you want, because it's a dot. We're going to connect dots, and we can't adjust your thinking and your mind, or is it this way because I'm backwards on here? You can't adjust your mind and what you're thinking about, how to align your thoughts to your goals if you do not get clear about what you want. And it's not to say that what you want can't change. It can change, but it's through the taking action and the heading towards the thing that you want that all the other stuff that's supposed to come up starts surfacing. And also you start meeting the right people, and I mean, it just unfolds. The universe will meet you. All right, we're gonna move on. The rest is actually gonna be something that I'm gonna offer you guys to do on your own, because it takes a little bit more time than what we have right now. So the next step is visualizing it. So you have to visualize it already happening in your life. So you pick from the list above, if you wrote 1 or if you wrote 3, and you begin to get as clear and as detailed. The universe doesn't know, it can't know the difference if you're in your mind or if it's already happening. But as we said, it's created twice. So I truly believe with everything that I know is if you can create it in your mind, then it is possible. Now, how it gets manifested into creation has to do with step 3, which is actualizing. So step 2, visualizing, once you get super clear about it and you detail it out, this is also what you can bring into your morning routine and charge it up every day, charge it up. So we're gonna move into actualize. So I was talking about these dots that we're creating. So something very interesting happens here. This is kind of like the 80% mark, and most people give up here. They think, oh my God, I've been calling it in, and why isn't it happening? And so we go back into that, like, it's not working. And so we start something new, or we just don't follow through. And the follow through is in the action. You have to take action, or else it just stays in the wanting. You stay in the energy of desire, and you don't actually bring it into your world. So the way to do this, well, has anyone ever experienced that, where you're just like at that point and you're almost exhausted because just getting there was so tiring, and you're like, oh my God, now I have to do something. And then it just gets, I mean, I've done that many times. And I've learned now that in the actualizing, the key to this is creating the smallest, the tiniest, and the simplest step forward. So one of my favorite lines that I say all the freaking time is, for that to happen, what needs to happen? So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the thing that you want to create, and you're going to say, okay, like, to make 6 figures via my online products, like Sherry is saying, for that to happen, what needs to happen? Because you can't go directly like bing to the final. You have to say, okay, I probably need to evaluate my business model. Okay, for that to happen, what needs to happen? I think I'm going to hire someone, or at least do a consult with someone so that I can get on the right track. Or maybe there's a bunch of other things. For that to happen, what needs to happen? I need to make a post on Facebook and ask people to recommend their business coaches or business models, or go online and Google, whatever these steps are. Let's just go with the Facebook thing. For that to happen, what needs to happen? I need to write a very clear post and put it up and do it. For that to happen, what needs to happen? I need to look at my schedule and just do it. Okay, tomorrow, 12 o'clock, I'm making the post. It's in my schedule and it's a commitment. And all of a sudden, a Facebook post is linked to making 6 figures. It's like mind-boggling to me, actually. So simple, but yeah. All right. So we are going to move into, well, actually, I would love a website up. Sherry, that's your step. Okay, for your website to go up, what needs to happen? I would love to hear. Did you guys have what your next step is? I mean, if I could leave you with one thing right now, it would be, what is your one? Okay, so you want to have a tiny house. What needs to happen for that to happen? You want to build it. Okay, you want to build a house and travel. So a tiny house is there, and then you want to travel, and the tiny house stays there, or is the tiny house the thing you're traveling in? Come up with what is your next step. Maybe just you just need to know that for yourself. If you want to share it, I'd love to know, because again, I'm all about making declarations and calling things in. So the next thing is moving to the second part of the actualizing, which is, we're going to move on over to, if you did download the workbook, this is the second workbook called Wake and Make. So a part of actualizing is literally creating a time. I'm going to go with the morning right now. Okay. The Wake and Make is how to create a morning routine where you're taking all of this that we have started to charge up and to realize, and you're going to bring it in to each morning, so that you are pumping your mind. You are firing to wire, firing to rewire. You're moving the needle. Let's see if I can remember all the analogies from today. You're drinking your wine. No, just kidding. Not in the morning. You are basically using the power of the morning. When you wake up, the day has infinite possibilities. I mean, you can literally create and be and do and have anything you want. And the best way to program your mind is this morning time, so that you use your morning, you pump your brain with these thoughts of wealth and of abundance and anything else that you want, which, by the way, you can use all of what we did here towards manifesting anything in any realm, whether it's relationships or health or whatever. Just we're doing money today. And from the morning, energy is super powerful, because another thing is that you leave the house and you've already charged up all of what you want for yourself. And all of a sudden you start seeing all of these little things appearing, these angels and these messages. And it's because you're attuned. Your vibration and your thoughts are aligned to your goals. And so you're literally trained to see them, and they pop up, and it's amazing. So the Wake and Make is about creating a morning routine for success. And I'm just going to open it up. You can download it if you haven't downloaded it. It's at monetizeyourmornings.com. And this is basically a part of the last stage, which we're talking about, which is actualizing. Actualizing is bringing in a morning routine. I'm not going to go over this whole thing because it's very self-explanatory on this document. But what I do want to say about it is it's about consistency. It's about creating something small that you are setting yourself up for success. So there are a ton of ideas over there in my document, but you can pick one new thing or all the things. But what's most important is that whatever you pick, that you're willing to really commit to and stay steady for, I recommend 30 days. I really do. I think that if you can show up for yourself 30 days, and I want to say one other thing about that. Like the needle on the record, you might be 3 days into doing something and then you don't do it. That's a part of it. That means you haven't stopped. It's the work is, like we said, just get back on. Just get back on, because you might actually learn something in that moment of falling off that is the nugget of where you need to then recommit. So in the morning routine for success, you are basically going to learn about why the morning is so important and how this can affect your overall mood and attitude, and how it can make just a big difference in so many different places in your life. I think one of the most surprising places for me was just how little I needed to like consult other people anymore with the things that I needed to do for myself, because you just become a resource for yourself, and you just learn how to become a conscious decision maker, and you're just aligned. Like everything is just centered and aligned. So from here, you just learn about routine and the fact that that just means consistency, and what you plan on getting out of your routine, how to create, if you want to make some sacred space for yourself. This is also going to teach you about, or I'm going to share with you my routine. And a little bit about my routine is, waking up and hydrating. I always sit in stillness. And a part of the bundle that I made for you guys is a 10-minute breath money mindset download. And so you can use this inside of your morning routine, and you're going to be activating the connected breath, and you're going to use the meditation as a way of pumping your brain. It has affirmations. It's really powerful. You just sit 10 minutes in stillness with the meditation. I do a brain drain. I'm all about, just like we were doing with the breath, with expanding to make room for the money. The brain drain is the same thing for your mind. You have to get it all out. Get all the junk and the thoughts that are not serving you, and brain drain it out and journal. And then from there, you can start to put the new stuff in. And there's 3 exercises in the Create Your Life in the morning routine document that has very powerful ways of creating affirmations, because what you say you are, you are. And if you're going to wake up and say, I am a money magnet, and I am confident, and I am creative, then you are. And everything starts to align to that. And then I go through 3 questions I always answer out loud to myself. And then the best part is the goal cards. you make these, I am so happy and grateful now that dot, 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 in all areas of your life. You create and you use that part of the visualization where you got super detailed, and you just start writing it all out, and then you declare it. You wake up in the morning and you say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I make $15,000 or more in a job that I love, surrounded by so many collaborative, amazing, creative people who totally respect me and support me, or whatever your thing is. Could be the whole getting a massage every week thing, or I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a tiny little house and I'm traveling and I'm feeling joy every day when I see my little miniature things inside of my tiny house or whatever. But it's your opportunity to be a dreamer, to be a creator, and to imagine, and actually just to believe that it can happen. And that's the expansion part. So there'll be some ideas for creating a morning routine at the last page, page 6 of that, where it's about really getting clear, like, what do you put into your body? What is your mental movement and what is your physical movement? And between those 3 different things, if you are integrating 1, 2, or 3 of those, you're going to start finding the trajectory of your life shifting. And while you show up for yourself in that way, you'll build confidence. You'll be setting yourself up for success, which means you're going to be experiencing success, which means then you begin to magnify success. And then success creates more success. And just already the words that I'm using on this side of the journey, we're talking about success and expansion and what's next and dreaming and imagination, versus earlier we were talking about debt and B word and just things that bring you down and blah. So this is the end of our little road today. We took a trip down money programming lane, and it's all about showing up for yourself. So if you haven't gotten the monetizeyourmornings.com bundle, you can go on over there. It's totally free. I love giving away stuff. The meditation is just really great for beginning to counter some of the thoughts that we have around I can't afford, even if they're subtle. And you just begin to pump your brain with really positive things. So I want to leave you guys with a few things. Well, really just one thing. I believe in you. I really believe that you can do this, and you can really understand the way that you move through change by understanding what you're thinking and paying attention to the words that you're using. And just to remind you that it doesn't have to be hard. It takes effort, and sometimes the effort shows up as frustration or resistance, and you can move through it. Those are the emotions that we transition through. So I really love talking about this. So if anyone has any questions or needs any support with whatever came up for you, I am available. Monetizeyourmornings.com will also have my social media, my profile, and my website are all there. I'm so honored to have been able to share this work with you. And I just hope to be helping support more conscious decision makers so that we can all share our love and light in this world. And I love you. Oops, again, wrong hand. I love you all. Lisa signing off. Peace.